Hello, my name is Rodney Robinson and I want to talk to you today about the Bovis Scale and hopefully to give you some guidance on how to use it. The Bovis Scale was a scale of energy values devised by Anton Bovis in 1930. This was later extended to be a tool for pendulumists to discover the energy value of a whole range of things: food, physical objects, ideas, concepts, projects, locations, houses, people, animals, plants, you name it. You can find the Bovis value for it. The Bovis value is a scale. On a chart it looks something like that, with a value range from low to high. These are given categories very often so that you can see what is termed a low, normal, medium or high Bovis value. Here is another one, and you can see there's a colour coding around the edge. This one goes from 500 to 14,000 Bovis units. It's important not to get too hung up or confused about what the Bovis units refer to. They really just refer to a level of energy that is available, and you're looking for the highest Bovis value that you can obtain, usually for any particular object that you're testing. And one of the first items that it would be wise to test if you're using a pendulum is your pendulum itself. Now, what I've found, and what others have found about the Bovis scale, is that the categories make little sense. They've changed so much over the years, certainly since 1930, and even over the past 5 years, the Earth's energies have been going up and up to such an extent that the Bovis scale needs recalibrating. So I've provided for this group different calibrations, this being the more normal one, and then two of higher values, this one going from 50,000 to 10 million, and this one being a higher value, it goes up to 20 million. So you've got plenty of scope there to test the very high value objects that you may come across. And so I first discovered the need to recalibrate these charts when I started using the lower values, and discovered that many objects that I was tested too high value for the chart. So what happens when you obtain an object that is a very high value that goes off the chart? Well, I've got this chunk of obsidian here, and I'm going to pop it onto the standard chart that I had. I'm just going to hold my pendulum over the object in the centre of the chart and ask, in the name of the highest good, please indicate the Bovis value of this obsidian stone. Now immediately what's happening is the pendulum is rotating to indicate that the energy of that object is in excess of the value of the chart. So we can throw that to one side, and I'm now going to use the 50,000 to 10 million chart to see if we get any further with that. In the name of the highest good, please indicate the Bovis value of this obsidian stone. The pendulum's going right around the chart, scanning it to find the right level. I often find this with this particular chunk of obsidian. It goes all the way around and then settles at a value which is quite high. So this is now settling down to the 4 million value. So this is a high Bovis value object, which would give energy to those that would hold it or maybe use it for healing in some way. So it's very useful for people who use different modalities of healing, particularly crystal healing, or they're using any particular object, energy object or energy generating object that they wish to place on the body or use for any particular way of healing. So one of the first things that you want to do, very advisable to do, is to check the Bovis value of your pendulum. This doesn't matter so much if you're using your pendulum for obtaining yes or no answers or obtaining answers from a chart. But if you're using your pendulum to transmit energy to create manifestation or healing, then you want, generally speaking, your pendulum to be as high a Bovis value as you can. And this is what we speak of when we say use a high vibrational pendulum. It's a pendulum with a high Bovis value. So a high Bovis value for me in this location would be anything over 1 million, and I'm looking for particularly around the 5 million, maybe 6 or 7, but 5, 6, 7 for me at this location is what I would consider a very high vibrational pendulum. So let's check the Bovis value of this pendulum. In the name of the highest good, please indicate the Bovis value of this pendulum. And that's settling down at 7 million. So this is a 7 million Bovis pendulum, a very, very high vibrational energy pendulum, which I would use without hesitation for healing and manifestation. And I would expect very good results with that. So the other thing that you may find, and it's important to mention, that your value range of Bovis units could be different depending on your location. This location where I am is a very high energy area because there is a lot of quartz geologically below the ground here. So there is a very thick strata of quartz which is raising the energy. Also, being on the coast, you have the energy coming in from the ocean, and we're backed by a mountain range called the Al-Mihar mountain range. So the chi energy, the life force energy, is very high here. So one would expect a very high level energy to be infused into people and objects that are in this location. So you need to maybe adjust the scale according to where you are. So you may find that where you are, it may be lower. It's not a problem. You're really wanting to compare the Bovis value of a particular object, whether it be a pendulum or a crystal or whatever, with low value objects. You might pick up a stone or a pebble that you wouldn't expect to have any healing properties. Just check its value, and by practice and by recording the different Bovis values, you'll find out what is low, medium or high. It may be that what I'm using here is true more widely across the globe because of what's happening with the changing energies in the globe at this time. It may be that you find that you're looking for a Bovis value of above 1 million for your pendulums to say that they're high vibration. So really feed back to me and see what you discover when you start using your Bovis charts to record the Bovis value. I have a little crystal here, for example. I know this to be of a high Bovis value. It's a dodecahedron, I believe. And I'm just going to plot that onto the chart. And we'll say, in the name of the highest good, please indicate the Bovis value of this object. So that's settling down at 6 million. So this little crystal object here, quartz crystal dodecahedron, is a very high Bovis value, so that would be quite useful to use in meditation for healing, to place in your hand. If you do have a crystal that you find with a particularly high Bovis value, it's useful just to hold it between your finger and thumb like this, and just when you're doing your meditation, just hold it. Maybe hold another one in the other hand if you've got another object. And what that'll do is that'll form a circuit through which your body can draw that high vibrational energy into your energy field. So that's a useful thing. Just meditate like that and draw that energy in. So knowing objects' Bovis value is a very useful thing to be able to do. So start using your charts. Have a read of the PDF file that I've uploaded to the files section, which covers all the facts and the background about the Bovis scale, about the history and how it was used. Have a read of that. And of course you do have the scales that that I've talked about just now. You will find that occasionally, due to unknown factors, that the Bovis values of an object that you've been checking or that you know the value of will spike. And there have been these unusual spikes just recently. I've been finding, for example, in fact this pendulum here, it's been having spikes of energy going up to 17 million. And this stays for a day or two. I don't know what's going on here, but I put it down to the changes, the earth energy changes that are going on at the moment. That may be also very useful to know, because in those periods where you get spikes of energy, they may be very good periods of time to carry out manifestation or healing work. So knowing those spikes of energy is also very, very useful in your pendulum practice. So I hope you will start to use the Bovis scale, and I hope that you have found this video useful to your practice. Thank you for watching.